Good day everyone, and most especially to our Professor Dr. Manuel Roman. Good day sir. I am Julie Percy Canoy and I'm going to discuss to you the topic that is all about maintenance and other operating expenses, or what we call the MOE, and financing of school buildings and school site. What is MOE? So MOE means that this is the allocated funds for public elementary and secondary schools that can be spent on activities and necessities that support the learning programs and help maintain a safe and healthy environment in schools. So the maintenance and other operating expenses, or MOE, is also referred to an expenditure category or expense class for support to the operations of government agencies. DepEd Order Number 8, Series of 2019, it provides the mechanisms, procedures, and standards for release, utilization, liquidation, monitoring, and reporting of school MOE of all public elementary and secondary schools nationwide. So the Department Order Number 8, Series of 2019, revokes the following DepEd orders. First is the DepEd Order Number 9, Series of 2018. It states that the implementing guidelines on the release and utilization of maintenance and other operating expenses allocations of senior high schools. Second is the DepEd Order Number 13, Series of 2016. It states that the implementing guidelines on the direct release and use of maintenance and other operating expenses allocations of schools, including the funds managed by schools. So the aims of the Department of Education is to provide guidance to all public schools on the derivation, release, utilization, monitoring, and reporting of school MOE and other funds managed by schools. It also aims to ensure timely and optimal use of school resources. And lastly, institute mechanisms for transparency and accountability. So these are the following uses of school maintenance and other operating expenses, or MOE. First, it is used for the activities identified in the approved school improvement plan, or what we call the SIP, and specifically determined in the annual implementation plan, or the AIP. It also used for the graduation rites, moving up or closing ceremonies, and recognition activities. So the MOE also used for the minor repairs of facilities necessary for the upkeep of the schools, and also for the procurement of semi-expendable property items worth less than 15,000 pesos, including the technical, vocational, livelihood, and science classes consumables. The following funds shall no longer be downloaded from the central office and now is part of the school MOE budget, such as the financial assistance to support the special curricular programs in science, sports, arts, and special education. Next is the Gulayan sa Paaralan, and today the DepEd Interconnectivity Program, and also the School-Based Management Grant. MOE should not be used for the procurement of school seats and teachers' tables and chairs except for those not procured or does not provided by the central, the regional, or schools division offices. Textbooks and also the supplementary learning resources or the SLRs. So, implementation requirements for the school MOE. So, how will it be implemented? So, the implementing units have an agency codes and are authorized to open the MDS sub-accounts and authorized the government depository banks. It's also the cash allocations are directly issued by the DBM to the respective MDS sub-accounts. The IUs or the implementing units personnel who handle accounting, the budgeting and cashiering functions and are required to maintain the sets of books of accounts. For the non-implementing units, they covered by the MDS sub-accounts of the SDO. So the school MOE allocations are received in the forms of cash advance from their respective SDOs. The non-IUs or the non-implementing units do not have their own financial staff. So the schools receiving the 20,000 and below monthly may get their MOE quarterly. Reporting requirements for the school MOE. So the principals, the school heads, teacher in charge shall post information on the sources, intended use, and actual utilization of school funds in the Transparency Board to be updated every 3 months. They also present the sources and uses of school funds to the stakeholders using the school report card in accordance to the DepEd Order number 44 series of 2015. So, every 5th day of the following month, all SDOs are required to submit their respective ROs or the regional office the report on monthly status of school MOE, cash advances and utilization, including the issues and challenges encountered. So in every 10th day of the following month, all ROs or regional offices shall submit a consolidated report to the central office through the accounting division. So what is penalty clause? So any DepEd personnel who will violate any provision of this order shall be dealt with administratively pursuant to the Department Order number 49 series of 2006 or other known as the Revised Rules of Procedures of the Department of Education in administrative cases, so without prejudice to other legal remedies available to the government. The School Governance Council may prepare a report on any irregularity or violation of these implementing guidelines and should be filed to the proper disciplinary authority pursuant to the Department Order number 49 series of 2006. And now let us go to the financing of school buildings and school sites. So the school building program under the Basic Educational Facilities Fund, or what we call the BEFF of the Department of Education, aims to address the classroom gaps in high priority schools nationwide. So the BEFF was incorporated in the General Appropriations Act, or what we call the GAA, starting 2013. So the budget sources for school building is from the Regular School Building Program or RSBP in accordance with Republic Act 7880 or the Equitable Access to Basic Education Law. Next is the School Building Program for areas experiencing the acute classroom shortage. Modes of acquisition of school sites. So first is the donation. It is under the Section 3 of FA 897 and Section 4 of the IRR. It states that DepEd may explore as its first option the donation of the needed portion or whole of the affected properties by the respective owners. And the procedures. So here is the procedures. A. The DepEd Schools Division Superintendent or the SDS determines the acutely congested schools within the respective areas and identifies the areas where new school sites are needed. So letter B. Upon determination of the congested schools and identification of areas needing a new school sites, the SDS shall accomplish the acquisition and assessment forms for the scanned private properties viable for the acquisition. So the SDS also post calls for donations in the areas where new school sites are needed. So the SDS shall submit the forms to the regional office for review and approval. Next, letter C is when interested parties respond to the call for donations, the SDS shall meet the potential donors and conduct an ocular inspection of the property. So an ocular inspection report shall be submitted by the SDS to the RO for review. So the RO shall approve the inspection report as to the suitability of the property as a school site and recommend its approval for the site acquisition. Letter D. Upon approval of the property's suitability as a school site, the SDS shall prepare the deed of donation and all pertinent documents for submission to the central office for review and approval. Letter E. The schools division superintendents shall then process the registration of the donation in the proper register of deeds. So its annotation in the properties transfer certificate of the title or what we call the TCT and the transfer of the property in the name of Department of Education. Letter F. If there are no persons interested to donate their properties, the SDS shall make a written report and submit the report to the RO or the regional office together with the acquisition and assessment forms. So the RO now shall submit the report and the forms to the CO or the central office for the evaluation. Next is the central office shall prioritize the properties that shall be acquired and the priority list shall then be transmitted to the regional office and SDS concerned. Letter H. So upon the receipt of the priority list, the SDS now shall request to the property owners included in the list to donate their properties to the DepEd. So the number 2 modes of acquisition of school sites is the negotiated sale or purchase. It is under the Section 5 and 7 of RA 10752 and Section 6 and 12 of the IRR. It states that if the owner of the property is not willing to donate his property, DepEd shall negotiate with the owner for the purchase of the property. So the procedure is A. If the property owner and the SDS agree on the negotiated sale, the SDS shall prepare an offer of the purchase price of the property based on the current zonal evaluation of the BIR in the said area. The next procedure is if the property owner accepts the purchase price offered by the SDS, Thus, this now shall prepare the deed of sale and other pertinent documents of the property and submit it to the regional office for review. And that ends my topic. Hope you learned about the MOE and about the school financing of buildings and school sites. Once again, I am Julie Percy Canoy. Thank you.